He is the immortal icon of the industry. He is the toughest SOB in the WWE. Both led wrestling boom periods to new unseen heights, and both are considered to be two of the biggest wrestling megastars of all time. One would first become a superstar in the WWF before going to WCW, while the other would do the reverse. And even though they have apparently gotten over their real-life animosity, it wasn't in time to find out who would get booked to go out on top. That is, until now. Welcome to Dave Knows Wrestling's Dream Match, where I will finally analyze these two combatants by examining their virtues, their weaknesses, and their prospects for victory. Everything that will best help to approximate, calculate, and evaluate who would and should get booked to go over in a big dream match bout. And today's episode is Hollywood Hulk Hogan vs. Stone Cold Steve Austin. First, we need to pick a specific point in history for this hypothetical dream match to take place. Then it's on to looking at a few highlights throughout both men's careers. And then finally, it's on to an analysis of their win percentages in order to formulate which combatant will come out as the victor. And so with all that being said, let's begin by deciding when this hypothetical dream match will be taking place. Now, out of all the time periods when this could possibly happen, it would be hard to imagine a more interesting storyline than Stone Cold Steve Austin rebelling against a tyrannical New World Order. And fortunately, history has already done some of the work for us on this one. In 2002, the NWO made their WWE debut at the No Way Out pay-per-view, where they cost Stone Cold Steve Austin the undisputed championship in his title match against then-champion Chris Jericho. However, reportedly, backstage politics kept the feud between Austin and Hogan from ever happening, and we would instead get to see The Rock go against Hogan, with Austin capping off his NWO feud with a victory over Scott Hall. Thus, while the initial setup was there, we never got the payoff that saw these two titans squaring off. So for today, we're going to expand on it and retcon things so that way the events were done right. We'll be looking at both men's records starting at WrestleMania 18, leading up to the night before WrestleMania 19, because it's that specific WrestleMania that's going to be the exact date for when this hypothetical dream match will be taking place, as there's only one stage grand enough for a collision of this magnitude, and that would of course be the grandest stage of them all. However, we will be altering the plot just a bit, so that way Hulk Hogan will remain with the New World Order for the entire time, and Stone Cold Steve Austin's career won't be coming to an end in 2003. This way, both of these combatants will have their optimal situation for their climactic clash. And so, now that the event is set, it's time to go over the highlights. When it comes to professional wrestling, Hulk Hogan has done it all. He's won the WWF World Heavyweight title a total of 6 times, and one of those reigns was even while the title was the Undisputed Championship, a title that Austin has never won. Plus, while Austin has held the WWF title for an impressive accumulated total of 529 days over his 6 reigns, Hulk Hogan shatters that by holding on to the top prize in the WWF for a grand total of 2,185 combined days, with the exact same amount of title runs as Austin. But not only that, Hulk Hogan also has won other major world titles that Steve Austin has never held, such as the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, also 6 times, and the original IWGP Heavyweight Championship too. And on a side note, since the name change happened during his title reign, Hulk Hogan is also the first person to ever hold the World Wrestling Entertainment Championship, as well as being the last to ever hold the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Not to mention that Hulk Hogan has also main evented 8 WrestleManias, an incredible feat, especially when compared to Austin's mere 3. But on the other hand, Steve Austin does have some major accolades to his name as well, as he has a lot more lower tier title wins than Hogan, having won each the WCW World Television Championship, the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship, and the WWF Intercontinental Championship all twice, which are also all championships that Hulk Hogan has never held. Plus, the Texas Rattlesnake also has a grand total of 6 tag team title runs during his time in both WCW and WWF, as opposed to Hulk Hogan's mere one-time run as a tag team champion with Edge. In addition, Austin also holds a King of the Ring victory over Hogan, and a one-time reign as the $1 Million Champion. And while the Hulkster is one of only a handful of wrestlers to ever have won 2 Royal Rumbles, Steve Austin is the only wrestler to have ever won 3. Now, after reviewing their accomplishments, it's time to get a better understanding of their win records for this time period, and in order to do so, let's take a look at the calculations. Dr. Dave here, and after getting a better assessment of both combatants in straight-up one-on-one competition, some things become abundantly clear. First, in the time between WrestleManias 18 and 19, Stone Cold scored 17 wins and lost only 6 times, giving him a total win percentage of 73.9%. In opposition to that, Hulk Hogan pulled in only 10 victories and 8 total losses, and won no contest. However, 3 of those wins were won by disqualification, meaning that he only has 7 legitimate wins against his 8 legitimate losses, resulting in him having a final legit win percentage of only 46.6%. On the other hand, when it comes to Stone Cold's record during this time, all of his wins and all of his losses were decided distinctly, meaning that his record still holds up at 73.9%, giving him a gigantic advantage over the Hulkster going into this matchup. Alright, so the combatants are set, and it's finally time to see who will come out on top. Will it be the immortal Hollywood Hulk Hogan or the Texas Rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin? And your winner is Stone Cold Steve Austin! Now, this victory came down to several key factors. First, let's make this clear, if this was a career versus career bout, things would have turned out completely differently, as Hogan has one of the highest win percentages of all time in WWE. But from WrestleManias 18 to 19, Austin's dominance over Hogan when it comes to wins is just far too great. Not to mention that Austin not only had a higher win percentage, but he also had more total wins, less total losses, and more overall total matches in general, which alone was more than enough to get Steve the win on this one. Additionally, while the leg drop was one of the most protected finishers in all the WWF, after turning Hollywood, the move was considerably less effective. And while the stunner is by no means impervious and has also become less powerful after Austin's heel turn at WrestleMania 17, during the exact time frame of 2002 and 2003, Austin was able to put away a lot more opponents with the Stone Cold Stunner than Hogan could do by dropping a leg. And in terms of weaknesses, while Austin tends to struggle a bit more with technical wrestlers such as Bret Hart and Kurt Angle, technical wrestling is nothing that Austin's in any danger of when facing Hulk Hogan. Furthermore, something else to consider is that Hogan was never able to beat The Rock in one-on-one competition, while Austin on the other hand has beaten him on multiple occasions. Something similar can also be said about The Undertaker as well. Hogan was never able to get a clean victory over the Phenom, where Austin has, and if we are just sticking to the specific time period in question, while Austin didn't face The Rock during this time, both men did encounter The Undertaker, and Austin was able to pick up 2 wins against him, while Hogan failed to get even 1. And lastly, let's not forget about booking itself. Not only would Vince McMahon be more likely to book Austin over Hogan, but more so, let's just look at it from a storyline perspective here. Like with Sting, the NWO going down after a year-long run to a lone rebel is exactly how this story should play out. And unlike what happened at Starrcade 1997, this is an opportunity to do this story right and stick the landing, having it end the way it was always supposed to. So in the end, even when dealing with the Immortal at the Showcase of the Immortals, when Hulkamania runs wild, what Stone Cold Steve Austin is gonna do is win. And that's the bottom line.